Happy New Year, everybody, and welcome back to the show. Hope everybody had a great New Year's, and to start off, we have yet another giveaway announcement. This time, I'll be giving away 5 of these Larry Elder mugs. Who doesn't want to have a Larry Elder mug? So make sure you go to winlarry.com to enter the giveaway. I'll be announcing the winners this month, January 20th, live on the Larry Elder Show on Epic TV. So be sure not to miss it. Again, that's winlarry.com. Got that? Capiche? And of course, thank you to everyone who signed up for the latest giveaway. We love engaging you guys, so please let me know in the comments what you want to see next. Now let's get into today's show, shall we? And now to the storms in California.
Here's what it looks like now in the first phase. First alert Doppler shows you we've got widespread rain. It's not terribly intense at this point, and we're not looking at any significant flooding threats at this point. It's too early in the system. Rainfall's not that intense, and we haven't had enough time yet for this stuff to really add up on the landscape. But it does still impact your morning commute. So if we take a look at it through the 7 o'clock hour, we're still looking at widespread rain. So it's kind of like the way the storm is timed. It worked out almost ideally to disrupt both commutes. The morning commute gets this first wave. Then we get a break at lunch. So from noon to like 2 o'clock, for the most part, it's not raining. You'll get some showers, but we're in between the 2 phases here through the middle of the day. And then we get into the main event. This is when that cold front comes on shore. This is when the intensity of the rain is going to pick up.
And the Mercury Sun of California writes, drained after years of drought, California's water supply is being bolstered this winter by an early abundance of snow. If only the state's largest reservoirs can catch up. California snowpack was at a staggering 174% of normal for this time of the year. But sky-high early snowpack readings do not guarantee that the Golden State will escape its lingering drought. Many of California's biggest reservoirs that store the state's precious water are significantly below average for this time of the year, despite the current storm. And a Bay Area News Group analysis of the state's biggest reservoirs found California storage levels were 27% lower than the 20-year average. And that analysis includes 11 years of drought. So what's going on? Joining me to discuss this is Republican Congressman Doug LaMalfa. He has represented California's 1st congressional district that covers nearly all of the interior of Northern California since 2013. Congressman, I couldn't believe you were able to get away from the drama occurring right now in the House.
Well, I just cast my latest vote. That's 10 votes cast now on this speaker battle here. But my good friend Kevin McCarthy's hanging in there. And we're going to get to a resolution here one way or the other. So we got to get everybody into a room and continue the conversation, and that's what's not happening right now. And so we need those 20 folks to be willing to come to the table.
You know, Congressman, I still can't quite figure out what it is that the so-called Freedom Caucus really wants. It seems to me that McCarthy's given them everything they've wanted.
Quite a few things. I think they're still looking to demand positions on committees, which isn't always. It's not just the speaker's prerogative. There's a whole steering committee that has votes to place people on committees and things, but he wants to get back in the room with them there, and so we need to adjourn for a little while so we can do that instead of continuing to have the votes that make the same result every time. They might change who the opposition Republican pick might be, but it's really not changing anything. It makes us look silly in front of the public here. Now we have this Republican majority and at least a mini mandate to do the things that people have asked us to do. We need to hold Fauci accountable. We need to hold Mayorkas accountable. We need to battle inflation and this horrendous situation we have with the border, and then the craziness of a lot of the Biden agenda. That's what we've been empowered in the House to do, and so we need to get after it.
Well, I think all those things you just now said are true. My problem, I guess, in general with the drain the swamp, rein in government spending people is government's grown when Ronald Reagan was in office. It grew when George W. Bush was in office. It grew when George Herbert Walker Bush was in office. It grew when Trump was in office, largely because what's elevating spending are the so-called entitlement programs, and they're pretty much on automatic pilot. Then we have the defense, then we have interest. So it seems to me that part of the budget that really is discretionary is maybe 5 or 10%. So until the American people have the stomach to do something about the so-called entitlements program, and I don't see them having that, what are we talking about here when you talk about drain the swamp? And what's that? The great Eldersky? is holding up a pair of MyPillow My Slippers. Indeed, he is. 60-day money-back guarantee. And remember, they come in different sizes, different styles, different colors. And they're so comfortable, if I put my hand through them, I will fall asleep. Not that you will, of course, because the show is way too exciting. Here is a MyPillow, the Mac daddy of them all. Started the whole company. Mike Lindell's MyPillow, so incredibly comfortable. I slept on one last night, which is why I am so energetic. And of course, this is the 6-pack towels, hand cloth, face cloth. Mine comes in white because, after all, I am the black face of white supremacy. What other color would I have? However, you might want a different color. So be sure to call the number on your screen or go to MyPillow.com, promo code ELDER. But wait! This is the MyPillow Giza Dream Bedsheet. Giza is in Egypt, just so you know. And Mike Lindell scoured the country to find the best possible cotton and found it right in Egypt. This is white for the reasons I mentioned earlier. And of course, they come in different colors and in different sizes because beds come in different colors and different sizes. Call the number on your screen or go to MyPillow.com, promo code ELDER. What are we talking about here when you talk about drain the swamp?
Well, I guess to most conservatives, the idea would be is that we're draining the swamp of the government constantly growing and taking more and more of our earned income and interfering more and more in our lives with just more regulations and more mandates. And so, the swamp and the appearance that all the politicians are on the take as well. So
right.
It's really a situation where we can reform government, and that should be our focus. We don't have to attack programs per se. I've seen numbers in the past that if we could just flatten the spending curve to something like a growth rate of maybe only 1% per year instead of a higher number, that in time those lines will meet with a good economy of not having a negative income to the federal government. And then we need to have a more ambitious plan to balance the budget and then start eating into that national debt. So it's a real problem.
All right, let's talk about California and water, Congressman. Why do we have a water shortage?
We do have shortages of rainfall and snowpack at time, but what we really have also is a mismanagement of our water resources as well. So
you and I talked about this when I ran for the recall election. I think you told me that the infrastructure for water storage has not been improved since California was half the population it is right now.
We haven't built the type of infrastructure we need really for 40 years. There's projects that are underway in discussions and being planned that would give us 1.5 million more acre feet right now, one called the Sites Reservoir. But there's a reluctance in Sacramento. There's blockages by the environmental groups to do that. So part of it is managing the water that we do have. As you know, and your weather folks were just looking at that, we're getting a tremendous amount of rainfall and snowpack. And so what's happening? We have two sets of pumps, one federal, one state, at the south end of the Bay Area Delta there, that should be running at full capacity, taking that excess water. There's 150,000 acre feet running out to sea every day during these high flows in this high weather situation that we should be capturing as much as those pumps can get and pumping it into the San Luis Reservoir, which is only about 25% full right now. We'd be saving that water. We should let no water out of the dams like at Lake Oroville or Lake Shasta that is not at least making hydroelectric power. So those lakes are only about 1/3 capacity too. So I think they're trying to manage that way. That's what the federal project is telling us, okay. But we've wasted a lot of water in past years. Yes, we have a drought situation, but the term drought is being used to manipulate us, kind of like government does with other things, in order to push farmers out and push people into only using 50 gallons per day in their household to get us conditioned to have government having more control of our water supply.
And when I ran, Congressman, I talked to a lot of farmers, and they are hopping mad over the failure of California to manage the water more properly because they're also experiencing rationing.
They're just flat getting it taken away. In my district, which you visited, I appreciate having you up there at Lake Oroville a year ago and looking around at our agricultural situation. They idled an entire half of the valley, hundreds of thousands of acres of land not planted. So what does that mean to my local community, the constituents, the economy? That's devastating. But also the food supply for America comes from a lot of these crops. 90+% are grown in California only. Tomatoes and olives and so many other things, artichoke, and you're not going to get them if they don't come from California. And so when it's always about some kind of endangered fish, which isn't really actually benefiting from all this water that's washing out to sea, it really looks like they're trying to run agriculture out, and they're punishing rural California and rural America.
So bottom line, Congressman, this problem is manageable if only the environmentalists did not have the stranglehold they have apparently over Sacramento.
That's a big part of it. We had people with vision years ago that created the Central Valley Project back in the 30s and the State Water Project in the 50s and 60s that have given us, over 10 million acre feet of storage. And,
right.
and that has made California prosperous. It isn't all just Silicon Valley and Hollywood. You have to actually produce things, and we do them amazingly well when we have the water. And we want to share with our neighbors. It's not north versus south or urban versus rural. It seems to be people versus environment and bureaucrats. So we continue to create more water. It isn't environmentally bad. It's actually good. It helps the fish. It helps the habitat. When we have that, we're willing to share. We're willing to create. Don't just take it away from us.
Finally, Congressman, as you know, when I ran, an LA Times columnist referred to me as the black face of white supremacy. One of your colleagues, Byron Donalds, has been nominated for Speaker, and your other colleague, Cori Bush, across the aisle, said that this was not progress because he represents the white supremacists.
You can't get more ridiculous with what's going on. Byron is a good guy, a friend of mine. Now, I'm not going there right now because I'm supporting Kevin McCarthy. He has over 200 Republican votes. But Byron is going to continue to be a leader. He's a good man. He's a good conservative. And for people to say like that, well, that just shows how crazy that lady is about a lot of things. You can find a lot of real gem quotes by her on other issues. Byron is a good man, like you are, Larry, and I appreciate you.
Racism knows no race.
No, it's silliness. So,
Congressman, thank you very much for taking the time. And I know you're busy. And also, I want to thank you again for your support when I ran for governor. I truly appreciate it. I will not forget it.
It was my honor, and we love having you up in the neighborhood. Come see us again, sir.
You got it.
All right. Take care.
Take care. When we come back, the Philadelphia DA, Larry Krasner, has been impeached, but a court may be throwing him a lifeline. Now, be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and scroll down and sign up for our email because, as you know, every now and then YouTube seems to have an issue with some of our videos. If you don't want to miss any videos, you got to sign up and get on our email list. Also, be sure to donate. It's going to be kind of rough next couple of years in our country because we got a country to save. Feel free to donate to help us keep giving you hard-hitting, real, honest shows. All right? LarryWithEpic.com, LarryWithEpic.com.